In biblical times, there was a way people dealt with sin. Rocks. Remember when they brought her in? They threw her down in the dirt and they gathered around her angrily with rocks in their hands. Clothes, if she had any, torn off. Tears spilling in the dirt and shame and anger. Where was the man? Was she his heart's love or just the afternoon's activity? No way to know. But either way, she was alone, he wasn't there, and they would be on her. They, the self-proclaimed upholders of moral rightness, they, the super pious pillars of the assembly, armed with their bludgeoning hypocrisy and worked up indignation. She was in big trouble because she'd sinned, dead-ending her into a circle of angry religious people with rocks in their hands. Ever been there? Problem is, rocks don't hit sin. They hit people. Remember that scene in Forrest Gump where Jenny goes back to her childhood house and she stares at that shack where her daddy, her trusted daddy, would come to her bed at night and use her like a trash receptacle. She picks up a little rock and she flings it at the house, breaking a window. And she stares hard as the tears start to sting her eyes. And then she flings another as hard as she can. And she throws, flinging and crying until she just collapses on the ground. And then quietly and in his own simple way, Forrest pronounces, sometimes there just aren't enough rocks. They've come at different times for each of us. Maybe you've come running with your rock only to find your loved one in the center of the circle. And what was so easy to judge before now has a face and eyes. When your son tells you he's homosexual, or your best friend confesses in agony she's having an affair, and maybe your anger comes first, and your teeth clench, and your grip on your rock tightens, and you want to throw it, you want to tell her, you want to tell him exactly what you think of that sin, just beat it out of him. But you don't. And you realize you can drop the rock. And your grip loosens, and your tears fall. Listen to that sound. Can you imagine what she felt that day? Hunched over, waiting to feel the pain of all those rocks, and instead hearing them drop to the ground. Have you ever trembled and told a friend something you had done terribly wrong, and then hunched over emotionally, waiting to feel little stone-cold words of judgment hit you in the back? And instead, you hear the flat thud of grace as the rock hits the ground. You can drop it. Like the angels left for me, let me hide